Are your photos starting to feel a bit repetitive? Maybe you're scrolling through Instagram feeling like your shots all look the same while others are capturing something truly unique. Don't worry, it happens to all of us. And in today's video, I'll share a few tips to help you guys break out of that monotony and add that spark of creativity to your photography that it might be missing. Let's go. Starting with tip number 1. Shooting at eye level is the most conventional approach, and let's be honest, it can get boring. It's predictable, safe, and overdone. While there's a place for those standard shots in your portfolio, if you want your portraits to stand out, it's time to mix things up. One of my favorite techniques is crouching down and shooting at an upward angle. This subtle change creates a fresh and dynamic perspective that instantly elevates your photo. Not only does it capture a view most people rarely see, but it also has a flattering effect on your subject, making them look taller and more commanding in the frame. I once had a model tell me she loved how tall I made her appear in her photos. In real life, she's very petite, but when people see her photos, they were surprised and they really like how statuesque she looked. Now that confident boost alone makes this technique worth trying, but it's just not about the subject. When you shoot from a low angle, you can incorporate interesting elements like buildings, trees, or the sky. This adds depth, shapes, and shadows to your composition, creating a more engaging visual story. The light interacts differently from this perspective, giving you creative opportunities that eye-level shots can't provide. So next time when you're out shooting, try crouching down or experimenting with angles that force you to see a scene differently. It's a simple adjustment, but the impact on your portraits can be huge. Trust me, your portrait game will thank you. When I first started portrait photography, I was a die-hard 50mm shooter. I loved the natural compression, the beautiful background blur, and how professional it made my photos look. But after a while, I started to notice something. All my shots were looking the same. I needed to shake things up. Enter the Fujifilm XF 23mm lens, a 35mm full-frame equivalent. At first, it was a challenge for me because I'm so used to the 50mm. With the 50mm, I was used to isolating my subject and just blurring the background into a creamy oblivion. You know, that's what a lot of beginner photographers do, and they really like that look. And it can be so overdone. But the 35mm forced me to think differently. Shooting with a wider focal length meant capturing more of the environment, which added context and told more of a story. I had to be more intentional with my framing and my composition because I couldn't just rely on background blur to save me. This pushed me out of my comfort zone and taught me how to incorporate light, textures, and interesting backgrounds into my shots. The 35mm lens taught me skills that improved my overall photography no matter what lens I use. It's versatile, it's creative, and it always gives me something unique to work with. So, if you ever feel like your photos are starting to look repetitive, try switching up your lenses. A change of perspective might be just what you need to break through and rediscover your creativity. To tell a compelling story, capture a mix of wide, medium, and close-up shots. In filmmaking, this is called getting your coverage, and it applies just as well to photography. So why is this important? When you lay out your photos as a set, these varied shots help craft a cohesive narrative. Without this approach, your images may start to look repetitive. To break the monotony, start with a wide establishing shot to set the scene. Then move in for a mid or close-up portrait to focus on the subject, followed by the detailed shots that highlight the finer elements. Wedding photographers are masters of coverage. For example, they start with a wide shot of the venue, capturing the atmosphere before the guest arrives. And as the event progresses, they take medium shots of guests mingling or, emotional moments like someone wiping away a tear. And finally, they get a detailed close-up shots of the items like wedding rings, invitations, or table settings. This variety not only helps the bride and groom relive the day they were too busy to fully take in, but it also creates a complete story from the venue to the guests' emotions to the smallest details. These photos come together to document the mood and the memories and the magic of the occasion. So there you have, folks. I really enjoyed making this video because it's also a nice reminder for me to apply some of these tips in my own photography. So if you ever felt your photography was getting a little bit stale, I hope this video helped you out. And if it did, consider subscribing for more photography tips and tricks video like this. And don't forget to like this video as well. And yeah, thanks so much.